behind you.
You know what time it is?
Hmm?
Do you know what time it is?
Yep.
I should know what I'm
It's 1:34.
Okay. So we're in between shows, I guess.
Yeah. Let's go see what's going on over here. I love this guy's hat. I love your hat, sir. Hey there. Let's go see what's going on over here.
So I want to pose some to you, and I want to ask you to pose some back. What if there were public squares in every neighborhood? What if land and water were not owned by anyone? What if it was customary to invite a stranger to supper once a week? What if leadership were organized horizontally instead of vertically? What if sacrifice replaced charity?
Where are you going?
What if there was a maximum what if it was customary for there to be a maximum difference between the highest paid and the lowest paid employee of a company? What if doctors were paid the same as teachers? What if no one inherited wealth of any kind? What if citizenship were not organized by country? What if we voted on how our taxes were spent in particular, like at every election? Those are the what-if questions that we came up with, thinking about how we might meditate on what the future might be. Anybody got a what-if question? It's a tough one.
What if Occupy everything succeeds more than we can collectively imagine?
Any what-if questions for me?
What if elections didn't involve money at all?
What if we all stopped buying things we don't need?
What if we couldn't throw away or dispose of anything we ever bought in our entire lives?
Stop buying things we didn't need.
If you had to keep everything that you've ever gotten in your whole life in one place, what part of your life would have the most stuff?
Furniture, right?
No, what part of your life would you have? If your whole life was represented in one place, all the stuff you ever bought, you couldn't get rid of it. Which part of your life would take up the most space?
I guess I would say childhood.
This is interesting.
What's the first thing you ever bought as a kid with your own money, not candy?
Clothing.
Clothing? What'd you buy?
Somewhere. No, not on.
No, not on you, but do you still have them?
No.
No. What if
You know what would be wonderful?
what?
If the things you're talking about, what if they didn't have to be legislated, but they came from people's hearts? Because that's really the issue, more than anything else. Is it's got to come from people's heart. You can't legislate, because that's what has gotten the place in such a mess as it is legislation. Because people don't come together and share like they should, you know. But what if that could really happen? That would be an amazing thing, wouldn't it? What if the 99% actually had a change of heart and gave it? Because you see, capitalism really isn't. I mean, it's evil in a sense because of the 99% that hoard and the 1% that don't have.
I mean the other way around.
I mean the other way around. I'm sorry, the other way around. But what if people just shared, like, because that's what capitalism's really for. It's not necessarily bad, okay? Because it gives a person the opportunity to gain wealth. But the test is to give it to people who don't have. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I think the test is to make it possible for everyone to have.
But not everybody has the ability to have. You see, everybody's gifted differently. So,
Some people are worth more to society than others?
no,
Then
absolutely not. But their ability to contribute to society is a higher level. You see? Huh? What's that?
Depend on how we structure society such that we can't make a society where everyone's gifts can contribute.
well, it has to do with value, how you value things. I mean, in Canada many years ago, there was a whole evaluation around how assistants were paid, secretaries and assistants, because they were always considered secondary to the bosses.
Yeah.
And there was a huge amount of legislation around the way their work was evaluated and valued, so now they're paid better. And so it has to do, I think, with a restructure. Maybe, this is my opinion, although I'm supposed to not have one because I'm asking questions. But I don't think we need charity.
Right. But we need to care for one another.
Yes.
We need to love one another.
Yes.
That's the issue.
What's the
That's what I'm
difference?
talking about.
Yes. Do you think generosity is learned?
Yes. I think it's unlearned. I think it's unlearned. I think we're more just to unlearn it. Maybe if you have an example at home that
I can't hear you anymore, sorry.
if you have an example of a person that's really generous, like your mother or something, I think that's learned.
Yes.
I've seen 4-year-olds that wore toilets.
Yeah, right.
They can unlearn that though.
No, but it's deeper than that. It's selfishness runs really deep. It's a condition of human beings. We're deeply selfish.
Try to change it. Try to work on
The
it.
first steps that my son took before he was 1 year old, the first without holding on to anything, he was on like a counter that a group of us were standing around. There was some fruit there that he tasted and he really liked. And his first steps where he reached out to me and I went like this. And I couldn't get it far enough, and he walked over for the first time ever to put a piece of the fruit in my mouth.
Right.
Now, well, I think inherently we want to give, we want to contribute.
Certainly. Yeah.
So
It's an enigma that's in it.
Connection between desire that you have for something and desire to share it, as opposed to a framework of scarcity where you feel you have to obtain it all because it's going to go away. But there can be that connection where I want something, and that wanting itself is what leads me to also give it to someone else. It's just difficult to access.
What is a reasonable difference between the CEO of the company and the lowest? What is a reasonable difference in salary percentage between the
the reasonable difference of responsibility?
Make that up for yourself.
The lowest person in the company will be responsible for
Garbage?
garbage or opening a door.
Yes.
The CEO might be responsible for 20,000 people's lives.
Right. So what's a reasonable, so with that, what is a reasonable percentage differential in salary?
In terms of compensation.
It's very difficult to put a price tag on certain